Hello watch fans, this is Anders here on Watch On channel. Now it's time for the full review of the new revamped version of the very popular Certina DS Action Diver. They updated this watch here in 2022 with some really nice updates, and I purchased one of these new Certina DS Action Divers. So it comes in this cardboard box here. This very much tells me that this is kind of a sustainable, environmentally friendly box. Nothing with a lot of plastic and stuff like that. Inside you find another box, and down here in the bottom you find the warranty and the manual. Count on me. I actually really like that slogan. I think that's a really nice slogan for a dive watch. And here we have the watch. This is the new Certina DS Action Diver. This is the new ceramic version, the first time that they're using ceramic bezel inserts, and they did do a few other upgrades which really places this watch, in my opinion, as one of the very best options if you want an entry-level luxury dive watch at less than $1,000 US. And let me just, during this video, tell you why. So another little cool thing here is that the pouch here is actually also a travel pouch. And you see I did remove 4 links. And here we have the watch up close. It comes in several different versions. I opted for this dark green. Omega also updated the Omega Seamaster lineup. I'm actually wearing my Omega Seamaster Diver 300 with a dark green version as well. Exactly the same color as this one actually, but what I can see from my research is that Certina actually announced this green version of the dive watch before Omega announced their version, just to have that clear. Of course, they're also owned by the same parent company, Swatch Group, so they're probably using some of the same materials across the different brands. So what we have here is the green version. You can get a blue version, then you can of course get a black version, and you can get a titanium version as well. I really actually like the titanium version, which kind of reminds me a little of the Omega Seamaster No Time to Die James Bond watch. It is a 43mm in diameter watch. You get just short of 50mm from lock tip to lock tip, but just bear in mind that you have male end links, so it will wear a little bit bigger with some aspects, because the bracelet from these solid end links actually they go out from the case. Then you have a height of 13mm and a lock to lock distance here with the bracelet of 21mm, which is a bit annoying. I did actually put it on a 21mm Barton top grain leather strap, and it looks really good, but it will make it a little more difficult and maybe a little more expensive to find additional straps for this watch. As you see, completely flat sapphire crystal. The case is of course 316L stainless steel, completely satin finished, brushing, no additional finishing, which kind of reminds me of the Longines HYDROCONQUEST, which is also competition within the Swatch Group towards this Certina DS Action Diver. It's the same with that case, no polishing whatsoever, very kind of brutalist, kind of toolish case. Then you have a signed screw down crown with the DS security, double security, which means you have double water resistant security within the crown and the threading and the tubes. It comes on an oyster style stainless steel bracelet. Unfortunately, it's push pins, not screwed pins, but they're very easy to actually get out of the bracelet and adjust the bracelet. And as you see, it does taper, and you get quite a few half links. You see half and full links, so you can find the perfect fit. Then you get a solid case back here. You get all the information. It is ISO 6425 certified, so this is a certified professional dive watch. You see the beautiful Certina turtle here. All the different information. Then you get the clasp. It is the same clasp as we saw on the latest generation of the previous DS Action Diver. A really nice clasp. At this price point, I think it's a super nice clasp. It's very functional. It's very good looking. And here you see they actually did some additional finishing with this chamfering here, which is polished. So the thing with this clasp is that you get the nice brushing on the top as well, so you will hide scratches very easy compared to polished clasps. Then you have a 2 push open here. It is milled metal, not stamped metal. And then you have this adjustment. This is actually the diver's extension that they made this way, but for me it functions just as well as the glide lock on a Rolex, for example. This on the go adjustment, so when you wear this watch out in the sun and your wrist gets a little bit swollen, then you can just push these 2 buttons and adjust it a little bit to have the perfect fit. Then later in the evening, when you're probably cooled down a bit, you will just put it back in. So I think this is a really nice feature of this watch at this price point. This watch is priced at around $800 to $880 US, so way below $1,000 US. I believe that in a few months you will probably be able to find these watches even cheaper because they get out to a lot of gray market dealers, and some pre-owned examples would be out for sale as well. It is powered by the ETA Powermatic 80 movement, which is one of the most used and popular movements within the Swatch group these days. They also use this movement in Tissot watches, for example, in Mido watches and in Rado watches as well. And this is a very tried and tested movement. You get 80 hours of power reserve. And as you see on your screen now, we get really nice accuracy, also nice amplitude. So I'm very happy with the performance of this movement. And with 80 hours of power reserve, it is just really nice. Only downside to this movement is that it's only 21,600 vibrations per hour, so you get the, as you see, a little more stutter to the second hand, but that's the only problem I have with this movement. It performs very well and it's very accurate. They actually regulate these movements on the factories with laser technology. So of course also lume. This is of course Swiss Super Luminova. You see the lume dots and the lume pip at the ceramic bezel insert. They are really nicely filled with lume, as well as the hands, which are these kind of typical dive style hands with the arrow or the spear hour hand. I also think that the green color and the green color on the dial, which is kind of glossy, is very tastefully done. It is very dark in natural light. When you get outside in the sunlight, you can see it becomes much lighter green. It really just changes its appearance, which is really nice. And then you have the Certina logo, the Certina name, 1888 DS Action Powermatic Divers Watch, 300 meters of water resistance and Swiss made. Kind of 5 lines of text plus the Swiss made text, date window at 3 o'clock, 120 click unidirectional bezel. The bezel action is very secure. It has the right stiffness. It's very easy to grip with the coin etching here. No play whatsoever. It's not very refined. It feels a little bit kind of metallic, and that is of course because you're not buying a super expensive watch. I actually think, for example, the bezel action on the Seiko PROXPEX SPB 143 is much more refined than on this Certina. On the other hand, a lot of stuff with the Certina is much better than this watch, which is more expensive. I will be doing a comparison between these two watches. And on my 17.5 centimeter wrist circumference, I think this watch wears really nicely. It is on the heavy side, as you see on your screen, kind of top heavy, but still very nice to wear. It is a sports watch, a dive watch, of course, so it's not one of these very light, cheap feeling watches. It is definitely a tool watch down to 300 meters of water resistance, but it wears really nicely. I would say that this watch actually wears a tad smaller than its actual size. It's much more like wearing kind of a bigger 42mm watch. Very nice, comfortable bracelet. I still think that they should have made some real micro adjustment options. You do get the half links and you can adjust it on the go with this function, but still maybe a few micro adjustments in the clasp or something like that. That would have been a really nice touch. So overall, I'm very happy with this watch. It is of course not the most sexy, interesting movement, but it's a very tried and tested workhorse movement, and you get 80 hours of power reserve and nice accuracy, as you saw. I really like the look of this watch. Maybe they should have framed the date window. The crown action, screw down crown here, is really nice. I would have liked to see some more finishing to the case. I think that the case looks very tooly, but also a little bit cheap, because this is essentially, of course, a professional dive watch, but a lot of people are not going to actually use this as a dive watch anyway. So maybe a little polishing to the chamfering or on the locks here would have been a nice touch. I think they just did a little too less with the case. The bracelet is fine, but please don't do push pins, do screwed pins instead. It's much easier to adjust, although it was quite easy to adjust this bracelet. So it does have its shortcomings, but overall I think this is definitely one of the very best options within entry-level luxury dive watches. And before I conclude this review, I would say that the biggest competition, if you go a little down in price, it would be the Tissot C-Star 1000 or maybe the Tissot C-Star 2000. You get the same movement, but you do get worse bezel action, and you definitely get worse bracelets with Tissot. So you're kind of stepping down, but it's getting close. It's within the same group, the Swatch group. Then you can look at, for example, the Mido. It's definitely also in the same category as this, quite better in the finishing of the case and the bracelet. And then of course, maybe the biggest competition is the Longines HYDROCONQUEST, but that watch is double or triple the price of this watch. So that is something to take into consideration as well. 2022, summer 2022, this is the best option for an entry-level luxury Swiss dive watch under $1,000. You get a lot of quality, and Swatch Group, they really show how strong they are because they are so big and they can produce a lot of components very affordable, and also then sell these watches at a lower price. So I hope you enjoyed the full review of this Certina Diver. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you very soon again. Thank you. Bye.